Hello, everyone. It's really a pleasure and a privilege to be here today. Thank you so much to ISPCAN, and what a beautiful country. I'm feeling very grateful and also especially inspired to be amongst all of you. It's just been incredible to see the level of work that's happening at the moment in this space. What a motivating and energizing environment to be in. So thank you so much for all of your work. I wanted to share some of the challenges I believe we're facing. I come from a UK perspective, but I think these are very much challenges that can be applied globally, and something that I'm really picking up from the global peers and connections and collaborating partners as well. I think generally, as we know, the sector is severely underfunded, and that is probably the most significant challenge that we have. That's both in the UK and globally, and I think in the UK in particular, I can speak to quite a competitive, challenging and difficult environment, just in terms of how organizations are working and the challenges that we're facing, and it does create an environment of competition. So, I think just the importance of fostering that friendship, that unity, that sense of trust, that collaboration could not be more important. Secondly, it's, definitely, I think, the stigma and the taboo of this issue of childhood sexual violence, of violence against children. And, it is just very challenging to engage the public, to engage everyone, because of how, traumatic and triggering. And, for many people, it is just too horrible. And I think that is a huge barrier in engagement and in people taking this seriously, in people, listening and engaging and trying to get people to understand just the scale and the prevalence of this issue. And, it's a huge problem. I think many people would, they would much rather look away and brush it under the carpet. They just can't face it. So I think, it is just so important that we are doing all we can to smash that taboo, to break the stigma. And part of doing that is talking about it, is speaking about this on an everyday basis. It's uplifting survivor voices. It's paying attention. The more that we talk about it, the more that we break the stigma on these issues, the more that, we'll be able to engage more people, and people will feel more confident and feel that they have the language to discuss these, to tackle this, and to speak out against this as well. The other issue I'd say is probably on, in every country, these kind of widely held misconceptions on the issue, the beliefs, the existing beliefs and the narratives that people have. Firstly, that childhood sexual violence is inevitable, that it's just too big of a problem and it's always going to happen. And we know that's not true. We have the evidence now, and we're building that evidence that we have the solutions, and, they just need to be invested in. And it's about mobilizing the governments and the funders and the people with power to take this seriously and to invest, because we can solve this issue. It is preventable. The second is this belief around this issue is being perpetrated by monsters, strangers, that this isn't our issue. This is something else that's happening in a dark alleyway and it has nothing to do with us. This is massively problematic, and it really works against the reality of this being a collective global issue that affects all of us, that we all have a responsibility in tackling. And finally, I know I don't want to take up too much time, but this kind of growing hostile social political landscape that we're existing in, the rise of online extremism, the rise of extremist right-wing rhetoric that are, perpetrating upholding these traditional gender norms that are leading to the objectification and control of women, which eventually leads to violence against children, violence against women and girls. And then also in the UK, and I think globally we're going to see more of this, and this is definitely happening in America, but the politicizing of prevention and a lot of our interventions, sex education, relationship sex education in schools as well. And then we also have pornography, AI, online harms, this kind of whole new world, these whole new landscapes that are transforming the way young people are experiencing sexual violence and online sexual violence. And the lack of understanding, I think, from many an older generation, and these generational gaps in understanding the lived experiences of young people. So to conclude, essentially, it's really about galvanizing this global movement, incentivizing everyone at every level of society to engage, to take this issue seriously, and to create that political will. And I think, I come from a grassroots campaigning perspective. I shared my story and it went viral, and hundreds of young people shared their stories, and then thousands of young people shared their stories. And then, we started a movement. 50,000 young people spoke about rape culture and sexual violence in UK schools. And then the government responded. And then they launched this review, and then it forced all schools, all institutions in the UK to take action and take this issue seriously. So, it really just starts with one person speaking out. We all have the capacity to make a change. So thank you so much. I think it's been an amazing experience to be here, and it's just a privilege. And thank you for your work.